Okay.
I think I hold it. Let's put your hand up. Say aye.
I, by Gbala,
You promise
do solemnly swear before God and the Commission
that my testimony
that the testimony I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God.
Please be seated. Good afternoon and welcome, Mr. Witness, to these public hearings.
As I said, my name is Gbala. I was born many rice farms ago in the small town of Town, Grand Jetta County. I'm a student of political science, economics, and management. And while a student here in the United States, right here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the University of Minnesota, and the College of St. Thomas, I was active in Liberian community affairs.
Are you into your presentation now?
In the Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas. There I was elected Vice President, 77 to 79, and later President, 1980 to 1982. After graduation, I returned home, and there I was a co-founder of the National Democratic Party of Liberia, the NDPL. Meanwhile, I served 3 major Liberian government administrations, beginning with the People's Redemption Council, a military government, and later a government of Dr. Samuel Kanyando, the interim government of Dr. Amos Sawyer, and the succeeding Council of State, chairpersons of Professor David Pomakwo, Professor Sangawolo, Mrs. Ruth Sandu Perry, and of course, Mr. Charles Gange MacArthur Taylor as president. I was a political, economic, and international affairs advisor to all of these organizations. However, after just 9 months in the Taylor government.
Can I stop you there for a moment, sir?
Beg your pardon?
Can I just stop you for a while?
Okay.
I presume you go into your presentation already. But before that, there are some preliminary information we want to request of you before you go into it.
In the Taylor government?
No, just now. Wait, I don't know what I'm doing.
My what?
I'm confident you want to move into your presentation right away.
Well, what I'm just doing is giving you who I am first, then I'll go into my statement before the council. I want you to know, first of all, what happened, how I got here this time in the United States.
Okay, but I need to lead you a little bit into your presentation so that we do not sway on a lot of other things. I understand you want to do a good introduction of yourself, which we appreciate, and you will have the opportunity to. But I thought that we should give you a little lead so that you led safely into your presentation.
In here now?
Yeah, here now.
Okay, well, this is what I was leading to. I'm leading to that.
No problem. Do you know what I'm doing?
I'm leading to that. May I go ahead? Okay, go ahead.
You've answered most of the questions. One which is important is, when did you leave Liberia and settle here in the U.S.?
I didn't get that.
When did you migrate to the U.S.? When did you migrate to the U.S.?
Now, at this time?
Yes.
Oh, 2002.
2002.
Yes.
Okay. Can you kindly tell, oh, your date of birth, that is fine. Where do you reside presently?
In Liberia?
Where do you reside presently?
Oh, in Philadelphia,
Philadelphia.
Pennsylvania.
Okay, we want to say welcome and to also add that this forum, I hope I can be as loud as possible. This forum is intended for us to review our past, share common experiences in the hope that we can learn some lessons from the past as a basis for constructing a better future for our country. In such a way, we can promote peace, reconciliation, and unity, and posterity may inherit and don't go to a better environment and don't go through the experiences we have had. This is precisely the reasons why we have opened this forum up, and we welcome you. I will presume you know the commissioners. I may not have to do the introduction because you started right away. So with that, we'll ask you now to continue with your presentation.
Thank you. In fact, that is what I'm leading to. I understand the basic reasoning for being here, and I appreciate that. Well, I was saying after 9 months in the Taylor government, I was not only removed for political differences, policy differences with Taylor, I was arrested on September 19, 1998, during what is now called the Camp Johnson Road, what Taylor defined as surgical operation by his forces. I was tried and convicted with 17 others on what I refer to as false, vicious, and politically motivated charges of treason. We were given the sentence of 10 years, and on appeal to the Supreme Court of Liberia, the court did not only confirm the lower court decision, but added 10 years or 20 years in prison. After serving 3 years in jail, we were released on the 21st of July, 2001, on what Mr. Taylor defined as presidential clemency, due mainly to political, diplomatic, and economic pressure brought about by the people of Liberia and the international community, led mainly by the United Nations and the people and government of the United States of America. This is how I was permitted into this country. I am here now simply as a visitor. Now, I want to go back to some of the issues. Mr. Chairman, members of the council, of the committee, the executive director, members of the Advocates for Human Justice, distinguished guests, my fellow Liberians, ladies and gentlemen, I come with greetings to the Commission and gratitude for the opportunity you afforded me to take part in these historic hearings that are designed and dedicated to propose national healing, reconciliation and unity, peace and security, necessary for the rebuilding of our country after the devastating Civil War. I wish for you successful deliberations and the achievement of these noble goals. Like I said, I'm a lifelong public servant, former official of government, committed and dedicated liberal Democrat, one who served our country with diligence, distinction, and credit before, during, and after our 15-year nightmare. I appear before you today simply as one who witnessed from ringside seat, so to speak, the motivations of many of our leading Liberians who brought hell on earth upon our country, that is, indiscriminate plunder, death and destruction upon our people. And as such, I want you to know that I was not a member, a leader, or an actor in any of the warring factions that took part in the conflict. Indeed, we Liberians owe the survival of our nation and people to the Almighty God and to the generosity and humanity of the government and people of these United States, the European Union, the United Nations Organization, and the Economic Community of West African States. We must give praise to God and profound gratitude to these international organizations for coming to our aid during this historic period of our critical need. Elsewhere, I said that it is necessary that we be fair, we be factual, indeed, because very few of us Liberians, particularly the so-called quote-unquote book people, the informed, will escape blame one way or the other, neither by commission or omission, for the 15-year nightmare that occurred in our country. Now, let me go back to my experience. Firstly, the PRC experience. I'm quite sure you dwell on questions relating to the PRC. And as one who served the PRC as an advisor, my experience with the PRC can be described by two words: a nightmare for a student of political science because of the level of ignorance of statecraft. Individuals who did not have the preparation of what we call group dynamics, issues relating to political leadership, what constitutes that which is referred to as the vital interest of a nation, especially on the part of our new leaders. May I have some water to drink? Thank you. Secondly, that experience can be described as a laboratory, an exciting laboratory for a student of political science because of the age, an average age of 20, and also the lack of experience for a group of people that were trained in military science, a situation in which the notions of democracy are absent. They are taught to obey, obey, and obey. You complain only after you obey. These were the people, the new people that are put together to rule our country. So my experience is characterized by these two notions. Our job as advisors, Mr. Tambakai Jangaba, peace be to his ashes, he's dead now, and I were reduced basically to teachers, like professors in the college, in the college classroom, trying to inform the individuals what it is that we should do, what it is that we cannot do as the leaders of our country. The next that I want to describe is contained in this document. As president of the Union of Liberian Association in this country, we marched the streets of the major cities of this country in protest to the political activities at home. President Tolbert at that time became very concerned of our activities, so he extended an invitation to us to meet with him in Monrovia. As president of the union, I took a delegation of Liberians to Monrovia, and that included Charles Taylor on that delegation. This is the speech that we gave at the mansion, and it contains some of the basic problems that we saw with the government of our country, the activities of our country beginning 1847 when it was found. I hope that you will have a little bit here. The second thing that I observed as an advisor was contained in this document, emanating from my experience with the PRC, and it is entitled The Decentralization of Political and Administrative Power in Liberia. And it is based on what is it that we need. It's an argument that delineates, chronicles what is it that is absent in our country. That which also made it possible for the coup d'etat to occur in 1980. These two documents I would present to you. As a matter of fact, I have some other documents here that relate to the issues that are involved in what you're doing now in order to go back and get an idea of what it is that Liberia needs. Now, to the issue of the insurgency, that which befell our country. The National Patriotic Front of Liberia. On Christmas Eve, December 24, 1989, the Liberian people, predominantly Christians and Muslims, were putting final touches to family get-togethers for the traditional gift-giving and, of course, dinner after church on Christmas Day, which was to be December 25, the next day. This did not happen because on that day, at 5 p.m., Mr. Charles MacArthur Gange Taylor, leader of the NPFL, and proclaimed to the world on BBC Focus on Africa that the NPFL has launched an armed attack against the government of Liberia in Butuo, Nimba County, some 300 miles away from Monrovia, the seat of government. Mr. Taylor also declared that the objective of what he called, quote-unquote, armed struggle was to, quote-unquote, remove a dictator, Samuel Doe, from power in order to restore to the Liberian people, quote-unquote, the right of free choice in the selection of their leaders. Thereafter, Taylor's armed struggle or rebellion rapidly developed into a willful, systematic manipulation and exploitation of the simple traditional ethnic, tribal, and political differences, such that it inflamed passions and gave rise to the vicious, ethnically driven, deeply divisive explosion of the national conflict that, as you and I know today and experience, severely victimized members of the entire citizens or tribes, 16 tribes of our country. No tribe was spared. Moreover, the NPFL built its fighting forces by conscious recruitment of 10 to 12-year-old youngsters as combatants. This approach became the method of operation or command and control of almost all of the other warring factions that took up arms either in support of or against the NPFL. Resulting from this participation in an experience of unquestioned political violence that is inherent in the armed struggle, these child soldiers became, quote-unquote, men and women overnight. They, quote-unquote, learned and now hold the belief that one is free to do as one wishes or be that which one wants to be, irrespective of law, requisite training, experience, and age, and to make, in most critical cases, crucial life and death decisions. The reported rising wave of crime rate in Monrovia today is an indication of this phenomenon. Some of the young fellows who went into war aged 10 to 12 are now 30, 35, without any training, without any schooling, without any skills in order to survive in the society that we have in Monrovia. They turn to robbery, they turn to stealing, they turn to committing crimes. This is the result of this phenomenon. Because of the nature and the thrust of the NPFL armed attack directed against and based upon ethnic tribal considerations, and note this, one of the basic reasons of the issues that are now in Liberia is based on tribe and ethnicity. The NPFL directed its attack on the basis of tribe. And so most of the factions, Ulemo J, Ulemo K, Lofa Divisions, Lofa Defense Force, Nemba Defense Force, LPC, LERD, Model, and etc., whether against or in support of the NPFL, were organized principally along ethnic tribal lines. These were the individuals, these were the organizations that are alleged to have committed and violated the rules of armed engagement and therefore guilty of war crimes and crimes against humanity as the NPFL. As an official of government at that time, our search for the achievement of this of the immediate short-term objective of the peaceful resolution of the conflict took us to several foreign countries